Well, the history of the compensation in the real estate industry is kind of interesting. So if you go back 30 years or so ago, there was a shift where you had kind of alternative compensation models where the brokerages were providing much higher compensation, much lower support. And those started out in the Midwest, realty executives in Arizona, I believe, and then RE/MAX started in Colorado. And their premise, though, was based on, we're going to provide higher compensation to the agents so that they can go out and buy their own support. So it wasn't higher compensation just for higher compensation's sake. There was a plan behind it. And what's happened over the years is that this kind of morphed into, higher compensation without explaining, well, the whole reason why you have this higher compensation is so you go out and buy your own support. The real estate transaction and the real estate environment has gotten a lot more complicated in the last 30 years, especially around technology, consumer demands, and consumer expectations. And so it's a lot harder now in this environment to say, well, look, we're going to provide you with an alternative compensation plan so you can get your own support. Now the question becomes, what do you need? And I think that's where the conversation has really gone awry, where I think in many cases it's done a disservice for the agents in not saying to them, okay, look, we're going to give you an alternative compensation plan, but you've got to go out and get these resources, all right? And then kind of not giving a lot of direction as to, well, what resources do we get? Lower support models universally have lower per agent productivity. There's reasons for that. One of them primarily is there's only so many hours in a day, and there's only so many pennies in a dollar. So the question becomes, if I'm an agent and the responsibility is on me to go support myself, that means I got to figure out what technology to buy, who's going to help me, I got to do the strategic planning, I've got to do the implementation, I've got to be doing the updating, et cetera, et cetera. That's very time consuming. Not to mention that if you're buying something, one purchase at a time, you're not buying it in bulk, you tend to be paying a lot more money for it. I kind of use this analogy where if you were building houses, you would be able to build houses faster if you were using power tools than if you were using hand tools. And that's kind of the environment that we find ourselves in. So in our world, we look at being able to give our agents all the support that they need so that they can spend as much time in that $100 to $200 an hour space that they can, and spend as little time as they possibly can in that other planning and implementation and all that other space, which we have somebody else do for them. And I think for us, we have very high per agent productivity, much higher than the industry, because we've got very talented people that are working in an environment that supports their efforts and keeps everybody aligned with the goal. And the goal is to take care of their customers. We're very passionate about making sure that our folks have the right tools at the right time that are contemporaneous to the environment that they find them in. Now, I've been doing brokerage for 30 plus years, and from my perspective, I think there's nothing cooler than seeing a really talented person that is being supported properly so that he or she are focused on exactly what they're good at, which is buyers and sellers, helping people get into their homes and not having to figure out logistical issues. Our core values and mission statement are simply experience quality, and we look at the quality of a career that an agent can experience is directly related to how well they're supported. Because as we were talking about before, you take really quality people that are dedicated to their trade craft and you give them the right support, they will have a quality experience in their career, no differently than their customers and clients will have a quality experience in their home purchase.